there's a lot of attention being paid to the record put buying that's been shown in the OCC data today. And so we wanted to set the record straight on that and give an explanation of what it is. So give us 60 seconds here. Now, the OCC is the Options Clearing Corp, and they produce this data each week that shows us whether puts and calls were bought to open or closed, and sold to open and sold to close. And what you can see here is they also break it down by customer size and transaction size. So we know if it was a retail, aka a small lot trading 1 through 10, or more institutional flow, right, in the 50 lot or larger, also shows us firm and market maker flow. So when someone says there's retail buying, they're looking generally at this customer 1 through 10 lot. And if we look at customer all, that's going to show us hedge funds, pension funds, and the like. So again, this also breaks it down by equities, ETFs, and indices. Okay, so let's actually look at the data. This is the equity data for all customers, retail and hedge funds. And as you can see, yes, it's record buying to open premium. However, I want to draw your attention to the sell to open premium, which is actually just as large as the buy to open premium. And it is also at a record level, actually surpassing the size that was sold back in 2021. So this offsets. If you look at buying to close, there was not a lot of buying to close this past week. And if you look at selling to close, it also was rather small. Again, this is in the equity space. So if you net all this flow out, if you take the buying to open, buying to close, selling to open, selling to close, you net those out, you get this chart in the bottom left, which shows us that not too much is going on. Now let's just look directly at the retail side. Again, this is for 1 to 10 lot transactions. And as you can see, the data is totally different. So that big activity was really driven by hedge fund flow. And we don't know specifically what they're doing. We just know if it was in equities, indices, or ETFs. But you can see here on the top left, there didn't seem to be that much equity put buying. There was a bit of selling to open in that space, but on net it is something of a range bound week. Now, what is really interesting is if you look at the ETF flow. So the ETF flow would include things like the Qs and the spiders. And what you can see is there's big buy to open premium in that space, but look at the size of the sell to open premium. And not only that, the sell to close premium, very, very large selling going on across the space that washes out, such that when you look at the bottom left, the total premium bought and sold, we are back to 2020 levels, looking like a lot of people closed puts or sold to open in this past week. So this to me is actually the most interesting information that you can see here, that this can maybe be associated with some bottoms in the past. Obviously, there were some funky moves around February, March of 2020, but this to me really says something more than just that put data that's being passed around.